What's up, YouTube? Timu's here. Oh boy, now I, of course, just made a video talk about my top 10 favorite movies of 2010, but not everything in 2010 turned to gold. So here are my official top 10 worst movies of that year, and boy, there was tons of stinkers. But here are the lists. Alright, coming in at number 10, I'm going to go with Killers. Now, Killers was a romantic action comedy that paired Ashton Kutcher with Katherine Heigl. So that tells you something right there. I love Ashton Kutcher, by the way, but sometimes, his filmography could be a little questionable. Now, in Killers, which stars Katherine Heigl, who plays this young woman who meets the man of her dreams, played by Kutcher, who turns out to be an assassin. So pretty much like of course, we just had that movie Ghosted that got released, which I might mention to do a review for that, but it's not all that great. But this, I guess you could say, is a little bit like the reversal of the recent Ghosted movie. And Killers is god awful. I mean, Ashton Kutcher, for one, you cannot buy him as an assassin. I mean, you could actually buy Ana de Armas as an assassin before you could, or someone who works for the CIA, before you could buy Ashton Kutcher as his role. And so, yeah, that miscast was not so great there. Of course, you also had other folks like Catherine O'Hara, Tom Selleck, Lisa Ann Walter, Casey Wilson, Alex Borstein, Martin Mull. Usher was even in this. It was also directed by Robert Lugatek, who also gave us Legally Blonde. But this is a god-awful comedy. The humor did not work. The performances by Katherine Heigl and Ashton Kutcher was terrible. I believe there's also scored a couple of Razzies, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Katherine Heigl, I mean, she could be a hit and miss, but here is one of the few movies where she was a mess. So yeah. Anyway, coming in at number 9, I'm going to go with Repo Man. Not to be confused with 2008's Repo the Genetic Opera, by the way. That movie is awesome. And not to be confused with the Emil Estevez film of the same name. Repo Man, which was directed by Miguel Spadoneg, who would go on to, of course, direct episodes of House of the Dragon. And, of course, he directed that Tom Hanks movie, Finch. So he's done some good stuff since. But Repo Man is horrible. I mean, it of course had the likes of Jude Law, Alex Braga, Forrest Whitaker, Liev Schreiber, and it is based on a novel called The Repossession Memo of by Eric Garcia, and follows a Repo Man who goes on the run after he becomes the representative of an artificial heart and finds himself suffering the same fate as the victims. And the movie was released all the way back in 2010. But the movie did not for one, it was a major flop. So there's that. Jude Law, one of his worst performances. I mean, if you guys, think Peter and Pen and Wendy was not great, you guys have not seen Repo Man. This is maybe the worst performance Jude Law has ever given out. You had, of course, an Oscar-winning actor, Forrest Whitaker. He could have been better, but yeah, Repo Man is just, yeah. I mean, I'll say skip this and just watch Repo the Genetic Opera. That is a better repossessed-based film. So, yeah. And at number 8, I'm going to go with Prince of Persia, The Sand of Time. Now, this was directed by Mike Noel, who also directed Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. He's also done some other stuff here and there. Now, of course, this was directed by the star Jake Gyllenhaal, based on the 2003 video game of the same name, published by Ubisoft. Of course, also featuring Gemma Arterton, Ben Kingsley, Alfred Molina. You had some really good supporting players there. And of course, now video game adaptations seems they're doing a little better. Stuff like The Last of Us, Mario, and all. But this was one of the few movies where films based on video games did not turn out well. And Prince of Persia is just not so good. Of course, you had Jake Gyllenhaal, by the way, who I love Jake Gyllenhaal. He was really miscast as his role. I really did not think he should play this role at all. It was very whitewashed and there too, so there's that as well. The performances wasn't great. Like the villain was terrible. The script and dialogue was like, what are you doing here? I mean, yeah, but of course, it actually talks that there was always talks about a sequel for this, but that's never gonna happen because the movie did not do so well. So yeah. All right, coming in at number 7. I love you, Dwayne Johnson, but number 7 is the True Fairy. Yeah, True Fairy starring Dwayne the Rock Johnson, who of course at the time was really trying keen into doing the family fair stuff. He did the game plan, which I enjoyed. He did Race to Witch Mountain, which was okay. But out of all the family stuff that Dwayne Johnson has done, this is the worst of them. Tooth Fairy is, yeah. What was Dwayne Johnson thinking for first of all? Tooth Fairy is awful. It's not funny. Directed by the same guy who gave us the Santa Claus, definitely has a bit of a Santa Claus vibe here. Of course, if you guys don't know much about the story, you got Dwayne Johnson who plays this hockey player named Derek Thompson. Of course, at the time, I think he was going by the name of The Rock at the time. But of course, he is earning the nickname the True Fairy. And when he like dishes the dreams of a young fan, he quickly senses to serve time as a real True Fairy and complete with wings and magic wand. And of course, one of the worst taglines is "You can't handle the truth." Of course, a play on "You can't handle the truth" from Fuga Man. But yeah, truth. Of course, you had some other good players. You had Branty Jackson was in this. Julie Andrews, what was she thinking? Seth MacFarlane was in this. Ashley Judd. You had some good cast members in this. But it just did not do so well at all. It was just so unfunny. I mean, this movie is so bad that they decided to actually do a straight to DVD sequel with Larry the Cable Guy. Yeah, there's literally a True Fairy Part 2 floating around with Larry the Cable Guy there. I love Larry the Cable Guy, but yeah, that says something here. But yeah, True Fairy is yeah. I mean, Dwayne Johnson with wings. I want really. Thank God he been bouncing back. Of course he bounced back with the movie Faster, which I enjoy. Fast Five. He's been doing some better stuff than True Fairy, you know. So yeah. All right, coming in at number 6, I'm gonna go with Legion. Not to be confused with the FX TV show, by the way. Legion, which of course stars Paul Bettany, directed by Scott Stewart, featuring Lucas Black, Gibson, Kate Walsh, Dennis Quaid, and in it is Legion does follow a group of people as they attempt to protect an infant saver from angels and possessing an apocalypse. And Legion is just a not so great film at all. Paul Bettany, of course, now he's best known for playing Vision and WandaVision in the MCU. But he's had some messes up his sleeve. This Priest was pretty terrible, which he did a year after. But Legion's made one of his worst films he's done. Of course, another movie featuring a character with wings. So I mean, so there's that. Definitely, they could not tell you like if this was a horror film. They did not really tell you if they wanted this thing to be a fantasy. What is beyond me? The performances is just god awful. I mean, you got Tyrese Gibson in this. Okay, cool, I guess. But yeah, the script is terrible. The acting is horrendous. I mean, this is not like they of course did the best they could, but Legion is just not a good film at all. All right. Coming in at number 5, I'm gonna go with the Sorcerer's Apprentice. Now, this was of course a reunion of sorts, featuring the reunion of Nicolas Cage with his National Treasure director, John Turteltaub, and this movie is just not so great. Like it was supposed to be more like a new take on, inspired by the classic movie Fantasia, but I say skip this and just watch Fantasia. Fantasia is a classic right there. But yeah, the Sorcerer's Apprentice is just is god awful. I mean, Nicolas Cage definitely does his Nicolas Cage persona. Jay Baruchel was in this. Alfred Molina, Teresa Palmer, Monica Bellucci, and the film is like named after a segment in Disney's non-constructive film paired with the 1940 film Fantasia, and of course Fantasia 2000. Called the Sorcerer's Apprentice, which of course starred Mickey Mouse in it. Um, yeah, and here of course you have Nicolas Cage, who plays Balthazar Blake, who's this Merlin, who's a sorcerer in a modern day Manhattan, fighting against the forces of evil. In particular, his nemesis Maximum Harveth, played by Alfred Molina. Man, he's literally in this list twice. He's in both Sorcerer's Apprentice and Prince of Persia. So, dang, Alfred Molina had some questionable roles at the time, but he's still Doctor Octopus, so I give him that. Of course, you had Jay Baruchel popping up in this, which I don't know what the heck he was doing here. Of course, you had Alex Creed was also in this. This movie is just god awful. I mean, definitely really felt like definitely had a weird Fantasia ripoff feel to it, just with Nicolas Cage instead of Mickey Mouse. Uh, Fantasia is a timeless classic right there, but yeah, this is just not a great film at all. It's completely boring. Does not really make much sense, and yeah, definitely one of Nicholas. Like, not it's not like the Wicker Man bad, nothing like that. But yeah, Nicolas Cage has had some odd roles lately too. Like Season of Witch, he also did this. I mean, I'm glad we're getting a Nicolas Cage songs. That's cool, I guess. But yeah, Sorcerer's Prince, you don't need to say it. It's god awful right there. All right. Coming in at number 4, oh boy. We of course got blank in this I hope I can say this if I ain't in trouble here, but Sex and City 2. Yeah. I'm so I didn't mind the show, by the way. Like the HBO show, I thought was really decent. And the 2008 one wasn't so bad. But the sequel is not so good at all. Of course, this time around you have Carrie, Samantha, Charlotte, and Miranda. Uh, and it is of course a fun fashion of friendship continues to defy the lives of them, and they have like more than they ever wished for. But when the combination of marriage and motherhood approach, the gals take an exotic vacation in Abu Dhabi, where of course the sun drenched paradise hosts like many surprises. Um, and of course you do have the likes of Miley Cyrus popping up in this, Liza Minnelli, Penelope Cruz, Omid Dahali, Ron White, Kelly O'Hara. Lots of characters. Of course, obviously the main focus, Sarah Jessica Parker as Carrie, Kristen Davis as Charlotte, uh, Kim Cattrall as Samantha, Cynthia Nixon as Miranda. Why do I remember these names? Beyond me. But yeah, Sex and the City 2. Obviously, let's be for real. Let's just say up front, it's not for me. Okay, and they're all actually defenders of Sex and the City 2. Like there are people who do appreciate this film and everything, which I'm cool with that. But I just was not a fan of this one at all. It was so god terrible. The performances wasn't great. I mean, you took a really decent show and just turned it into like a not so great follow up. And yeah, I mean, I would say and just like that is probably better than this in my opinion. But yeah, that aside, I'm not a fan of it. But it definitely probably does have its fans. But yeah, all right. Coming in at number 3, I'm gonna go with Clash of the Titans. Now, of course, here you had Sam Worthington, who was of course coming off of a $1 billion hit with Avatar, and Clash of Titans is a remake of the 1981 film from MGM. And you had the likes of Sam Warrington, Gemma Arterton, who's also in this list twice, Mads Mikkelsen, Ray Fiennes as Hades, Liam Neeson was great in this. Of course, Liam Neeson plays like Zeus. Sam Warrington played Perseus, the son of Zeus. Wrath of the Titans is probably even worse, but Clash of Titans is still pretty bad. Like the performances wasn't great. Not really. I'm actually gonna lay down a little. Okay, feels much better. Anyway, yeah, the performances was god awful. The effects was terrible. Definitely looked like a very low, like terrible, sci-fi type thing. But yeah, it's a shame too because Sam Warrington, like after like Avatar got released, Sam Warrington has not had the best resume. Like in between Avatar and Avatar 2, he did stuff like Clash of the Titans. He's done some terrible home video stuff. But he never really broken out outside of Avatar. And it's a shame too. Like this could easily have been it, but it really wasn't. And yeah, it was a pretty terrible, piss poor film. So yeah, and Liam Neeson, like him playing Zeus, okay, cool, I guess. But yeah, Clash of Titans just not so great. Right, coming in at number 2, one of the worst comic book adaptations of all time. I consider this worse than Catwoman. That's how bad it is. And that is Jonah Hex. Oh, Jonah Hex. Featuring, of course, you had the likes of Josh Brolin, Megan Fox, Michael Fassbender, Will Arnett, Wes Bentley, John Malkovich. And, of course, here you have Josh Brolin, who plays bounty hunter Jonah Hex, who has one foot in the natural world and one in the supernatural. And his unusual nature gives him like abilities to track down anyone or anything. So like the armies will make him an irresistible offer, and it will raise the awareness of his like head if he will find Quinn Turnbull, played by John Malkovich. And of course, Josh Brolin will go on to have an interesting comic book career after Jonah Hex. Of course, he will go on to play Cable in Deadpool 2, and the big baddie Thanos in Avengers Infinity War, Endgame, and so on. But before that, he ended up doing Jonah Hex, and Jonah Hex is terrible. Like the performances by Megan Fox isn't great. Why John Malkovich and Michael Fassbender in this is beyond me. The effects was terrible. Definitely has a Western element. I mean, the Jonah Hex in I believe Legends Tomorrow. The Jonah Hex in that is much better than the Jonah Hex in this, in my opinion. And I think there's a really good story you could tell with Jonah Hex. I'm hoping maybe James Gunn could see about probably maybe doing a new like series of Jonah Hex, because I think Jonah Hex could work as a series down the line, but we'll see. It can't be worse than the movie, obviously. Okay, what is the worst movie of 2010? So many people will agree with me about this big time. Like the films that I just listed, lots of people will probably end up enjoying. But my number one pick is one that almost everyone could agree with, and that is M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender. All right, M. Night Shyamalan has been doing pretty good stuff lately, maybe except for but still. Of course, Knock at the Cabin was pretty good. Us, no, not Us. Split, I meant to say. Glass, The Visit. Sorry about that. But there was, of course, a time where let's say how it is. M. Night Shyamalan's career has struggled. Of course, he's done stuff like The Happening, After Earth, which was released after about 3 years after this. Of course, Late in the War, but nothing can compare to the abysmal The Last Airbender, based on the popular Nickelodeon series. Of course, here you had No Ringer who plays Aang, who, you know what? Let's. He did not have a great career after Last Airbender. Last thing I've seen him in was probably Cowboys and Aliens, and that was it. Of course, you had Dev Patel coming off of Slumdog Millionaire. Nicholas Peltz, who of course is married, who's of course married to Brooke Beckham. Uh, and so yeah, of course the performances in this is just god awful. The effects is terrible. I was so like, granted, I'm not really big with the anime series. I mean, I tried watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, the anime series. I'm not too big with it as most people are. But I've seen it here and there. It was an okay show. It just wasn't as big as most people are. So I was actually interested. Like, I thought the trailers were cool. You know, some of the cast of characters looked interesting. So I was really excited for this one. But then I saw it, and yeah, I want my like. I wish they create a list at the time, so I didn't have to waste money on this thing. So yeah, this Last Airbender is just it's just dog poo on a stick. It's so bad, so hilariously bad. I mean, this is one of the worst. Maybe The Happening is his worst film, but this is definitely on par of with The Happening as M Night Shyamalan's worst film. Like, you know, even if you're not a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender anime series, you could probably still, you know, appreciate that more than this piece of garbage. You know, so yeah, I mean, this movie was so bad. It's not even getting award love at the Kids' Choice Awards. That's how bad this movie is. It's a Nickelodeon movie, but it's not getting nominated for anything at the Kids' Choice Awards the year after. That's how bad this film was. Like, even, I mean, why is this still on Nickelodeon? It's beyond me. But even the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards did not want to honor this thing. So, yeah, and they've found worse movies over the years. So, yeah. But that aside, I hope the TV show coming to Netflix is much better. Of course, we do got an Avatar: The Last Airbender, anime movie coming out in 2025. Let's hope that brings Avatar: The Last Airbender to par. But yeah, the anime Shyamalan one did not hit so well. I mean, if my brother was on with me right now, he'll tell you how terrible that thing was, because he's actually more of my brother, who of course you guys know is CJ CJ Lopez here. Uh, he he'll tell you how bad that thing was. Because he's actually more into Avatar: The Last Airbender than I am. But yeah, I mean, it is what it's at. Anyway, and I kid you not, they were even trying to get a sequel for this thing made, but thankfully that did not happen. Anyway, that is pretty much it. Here is my quick rundown. All right. Number 10, Killers. 9, Repo Man. 8, Prince of Persia. 7, True Fairy. 6, Legion. 5, The Sorcerer's Apprentice. 4, Sex and the City 2. 3, Clash of the Titans. 2, Jonah Hex. And number 1, The Last Airbender. Now, here's some other films that some dishonorable mentions. Now, most people probably add stuff like if I know people correctly, they'll most likely say Grown Ups or Vampire Suck or something like that. But I actually did not mind those. But other ones I probably could have added: Skyline, Cats and Dogs, Revenge to Kitty Galore, Fear Revengeance was terrible, the J Lo classic Backup Plan, The Switch with Jason Bateman and Jennifer Aniston was bad, the Jackie Chan classic Spy Next Door. Speaking of Jennifer Aniston, The Bounty Hunter, Life as We Know It, Skyline. Let me see what else I got here. Worse. 2010 movies. Probably even add Iron Man 2, but I didn't. Iron Man 2 is maybe not as good as like the other MCU movies, but I did not mind Iron Man 2. Uh, I know this is going to be unpopular, but I was not a fan of Martin Scorsese's Shutter Island. That's one of the few Martin Scorsese movies I'm not a fan of. So, yeah. But there are probably other films. I mean, yeah, there was some pretty bad stuff for that got released in 2010. Anyway, let me let you guys. What do you think are some of the worst movies that got released in 2010? You know, was it Last Airbender? Was it Jonah Hex? Something that was not that I did not mention. Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Simi signing out.